I'm going to show you how to write an app where you add items to a list. So think of a note-taking app. This is the example I'll use. The user enters something in the text box, click submit, and you get a list of the notes they've entered previously. Okay, so I've already got the design set up. Okay, and I'm going to go with the blocks editor. And kind of the first thing we need is a variable. So I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to call it note list. And this is going to be the actual information that we remember, right, as the user enters notes. And I'm going to create empty list block. Okay, this block basically says this variable is a list. You got to mark the variable as a list. That way, when you start adding items to it, it'll work. If you don't do this, the add items to block won't work. And I'll show you how that works. Okay, so when they click the submit button, that's when we want to actually add an item. So they've typed something in the text box, and we're going to want to get what they typed and put it into the list. All right, so I've got a text box set up, right? So I'm going to definitely want to get the text out of that text box because that's what the user has entered. So think of textbox.text. This is what the user has entered in the text box. And what we want to do is add it to our list. Okay, so I'm going to grab an add items to list block, place it in there, and the item I want to add is whatever the user's entered. And I want to add what they entered to this list that I'm using to record all the stuff. Okay, so I'm going to grab this note list block. Okay, so when they enter something, click submit, I'm going to add it there. Okay, I also, this list variable, this is kind of a, it's hidden from the user. The user doesn't see variables. And I'm projecting my phone up onto the screen, and let me just refresh it so it comes back up. But that's what you're seeing over to the right here. Okay, so we're adding things to this kind of hidden variable, but we need to actually show that to the user. I'm going to use a very rudimentary way. I've got a label set up. I called it list label. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just plunk the whole list into that label. Okay, in this case, I want to grab this whole list. I want to copy Command C, Command V, and put it into that label. Okay, so what I'm hoping is when they enter something, it'll just show the whole list, the new updated list in the label. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blank out the text box. So as soon as they submit, let's make it so it's empty so they can enter the next thing they want to enter. So I'm just going to say textbox.text, and I'm going to make it equal to blank. All right, so I've got my phone, I've already connected it, right, with the AI Companion. So the AI Companion is running my phone. I'm testing it, and I've actually got my phone sitting here. It's projecting on. So I'm going to type in something into the note. Okay, I'll just say hello, and that'll be my first item. I'm going to click submit, and as you can see, as soon as I submitted, you see the list here with my item in it. It's not pretty, right? It's a poor user interface. But let's add another item and see if it works. So just let me say hi this time. Submit. And as you see, it is indeed showing all the items I enter in the list. In another tutorial, I'll show you how to actually display this list in a better way. Okay, right now it basically shows the list in the default manner with parentheses around the whole list and a space between items. Okay, but this is a pretty good example of how you kind of dynamically add items to a list, right? You first create this empty list because when the app starts, you don't have any items yet. And then as the user enters data, or if you're playing a game and getting scores or something, any way you get this data, you can then add it to a list and then somehow display the list so the person can see it.